Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good morning, everyone. It's May 16th, 2018. I'm Eric. How y'all doing? I'm here at the Free Thought Project. The U.S. state passes law defining any criticism of Israel as anti-Semitic just as they kill 60 civilians. Man, oh man, and it's my state, by the way, South Carolina, so I'm breaking the law right now. Because I fucking hate Israel and everything about them. The news that Israel killed more than 60 Palestinians on Monday alone has sparked criticism from Americans who are frustrated with the United States' failure to hold one of its closest allies accountable for the human rights violations it is committing, and individuals in one state will soon be labeled as anti-Semitic for openly voicing their opinion. South Carolina will become the first state to legally define criticism of Israel as anti-Semitism when a new measure goes into effect on July 1st targeting public schools and universities. While politicians have tried to pass the measure as a standalone law for 2 years, they finally succeeded temporarily by passing it as a provision that was slipped into the 2018-2019 budget. According to the text of the measure, the definition of anti-Semitism will now include excuse me, a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed toward Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community, institutions, and religious facilities, calling for, aiding, or justifying the killing or harming of Jews, making mendacious, dehumanizing, and demonizing and stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective, accusing Jews as a people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoing committed by a single Jewish person or group, the State of Israel, or even for acts committed by non-Jews. Accusing the Jews as a people or Israel as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or to the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than to the interest of their own nations. Using the symbol or symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism to characterize Israel or Israelis, drawing comparisons of contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis. Well, what if they act like the fucking Nazis? And they do. Blaming Israel for all interreligious or political tensions, applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded of any other democrat or democratic nation. Multilateral organizations focusing on Israel only for peace or human rights investigations, denying Jewish people their right to self-determination, and denying Israel the right to exist, provided, however, that criticism of Israel similar to that leveled against any other country cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. As you can determine by the long list of ways in which South Carolina will now define anti-Semitism, individuals will be forced to tiptoe around a legitimate subject, and expressing an opinion that is no longer considered politically correct can now be legally used against them. Calling out this bill is not anti-Semitic, it is pro-free speech. Criticizing the Israeli government, as well as any other government, is the right and duty of all free humanity. Just as the Free Thought Project advocates for the freedom of Americans, we advocate for the freedom of Israelis and Palestinians. Only through discussion and peaceful criticism will peace ever be achieved. Let me stop right there. Put my mouse where I left off here. Okay. Where peace may be achieved. See, everyone, including the Palestinians, including the Jews, has a right to self-determination, and the South Carolinian government really values the Israelis' right to self-determination, but continuously diminish the Americans who live in this state's rights. So, and it is your right and duty to push back against all forms of oppression, all forms of police state, all forms of state, because the state is only interested in either controlling you or killing you. Now, the Zionists. You cannot have peaceful criticism and a peaceful relationship or discussion with a person or a country that has the ideology as the Zionists do. The Zionists want you dead. And I think I put a video up yesterday on the 10 or on the protocols of Zion. And it's very clear in that writing what they think about Goyim or Gentiles. But you're racist. You're a fucking anti-Semitic if you have a problem with Israeli policy or the Zionists. What's more, even the chief of the IDF would be considered in violation of this law because in 2016 he gave a speech comparing the contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis. Well, yeah, they're ethnically cleansing that area from the Palestinians. Now, I'm not saying the Palestinians are angels or any such thing, but if, look, say I gathered 1 million people and I went to a small African country and took it over and killed everybody in that country. It would not be acceptable. And yet, it's okay for the Jews to do this. For as long as this bill has been proposed, it has been criticized by many who argue that it infringes on Americans' First Amendment rights. With the measure currently focusing on public universities, it has left protesters concerned that it will hurt one group while allegedly helping another. Caroline Nagel, a professor at the University of South Carolina, told the state that she is concerned that the law will discourage discussion on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and will hinder pro-Palestinian student groups. This is in quotes. I say it like that now because I always forget to say end quote. So this is in quotes. The bill, I fear, will silence professors and student groups who are trying to explain and to give voice to a diversity of opinions about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I am frankly baffled as to why any legislature would consider an ideal to curtail our freedom of speech. And this is just the beginning. Just the beginning. Pretty soon, if I criticize Israel on a video, as I am doing now, theoretically, these motherfuckers can come and arrest me and throw me in jail for being anti-Semitic. Am I anti-Semitic? Probably. I'm probably anti-Semitic, but here's the thing. I understand that not all Jewish people have the ideology of the Zionists or the Talmudic Jews. And if they don't have that ideology, I don't have a fucking problem with them. But unfortunately, they have a very strong continuity of ideology, and I know why that is. It's because every Israeli, except for the Orthodox Jews, are required to serve into the military, and that gives them a unique bond as a nation. The United States is a country that prides itself on the freedom and democracy it has shared with other foreign nations over the years, and there is no doubt that if the governments in Syria, Iran, or Russia were openly shooting and killing civilian protesters, the U.S. would be calling for war and championing a full-scale invasion. But when Israel shoots and kills 60 civilians and injures around 1,700, it's just one day the U.S. responds to the bloodshed by blocking the United States or United Nations Security Council's attempt to push for an independent investigation into Israel's actions. Unfortunately, the idea that Israel should be exempt from criticism and that all of its actions are automatically justified when a very different standard applies to its neighbors is nothing new in the United States. As the Free Thought Project reported, 41 other members of Congress came together to champion proposed legislation in July of 2017 that would make literal criminals of any Americans boycotting Israel a brazen, if not explicit, attack on the BDS movement, incidentally exploding in popularity worldwide as the belligerent nation continues its occupation of Palestinian lands. When a hurricane caused massive destruction in Texas in October of 2017, residents in Dickinson received a notice from the city that they would only receive funds to repair their homes if they agreed not to boycott Israel. The new measure in South Carolina may focus on public universities right now, but it is setting a blueprint for the other states to follow. And in addition to chipping away at the First Amendment right, or at the First Amendment, it is serving as a clear reminder that the United States only seems to care about oppressive governments who commit human rights violations when those governments are not considered close allies. So, what do you think should be done about this. You know what my opinion is. I think my opinion in the intros of my videos are very, very clear. Very clear. That's why I put the intros in there, because I can't say those things. If I do say those things, I could be arrested. So, what's your opinion? Do you think Israel has a right to do this? Do you think the United States should be backing them? I don't. And I will continue to criticize the Jews and Israel as long as they cling to the ideology that they're so much better than the Gentiles or anyone else on this planet. They are not the chosen people, and I think history shows this. Hope you all have a great day. Kill the state before the state kills you.